The ghost of a town. The town of Havenwood was a place of deep shadows and hushed whispers, where judgment clung to the air like a perpetual fog. It was a town where conformity was king, and straying from the path was a public spectacle. In this stifling world, Emily lived under the cold, watchful gaze of her mother, Margaret. Margaret's principles were as unyielding as the granite hills surrounding their small home, and her disappointment was a weapon she wielded with silent precision. Emily's father, lost in the quiet despair of alcoholism, had long since retreated, leaving Emily to navigate her life in a suffocating silence. One humid morning, the air thick with unspoken condemnation, Emily's steps faltered as she walked to the clinic. She was pregnant, and the town's whispers had already become a roar. Margaret had watched her leave from the kitchen doorway, her arms crossed, her eyes a mirror of the shame Emily felt. "You've brought shame upon us," she had said, her voice a sharp blade of ice. The words weighed on Emily's swollen body, each step a heavy confession. At the hospital, the sterile scent of antiseptic was a cold comfort, but when the nurse placed her newborn daughters in her arms, a different kind of dread seized her. Their skin was dark, a profound contrast to her own pale complexion. The truth, ugly and undeniable, crashed over her. The whispers of Havenwood echoed in her mind, and she felt herself drowning in a sea of shame, their tiny, innocent bodies a testament to her perceived failure. Days bled into a week, and Emily couldn't bring herself to touch them. She turned her face to the wall, letting the nurses care for the babies while her shame festered like an untreated wound. Her mother visited once, standing by the window, her disapproval a silent accusation. Overwhelmed by despair, Emily made a decision that would haunt her for years to come. In the pre-dawn hours, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs, she slipped out of her room. She found the nursery, lifting the two sleeping, unsuspecting bundles from their cribs. As she approached the dumpster behind the hospital, a terrible conviction took hold. Leaving them behind would sever the ties to her shame. With tears blurring her vision, she placed them inside, their cries a heartbreaking symphony in the silent morning. She slammed the lid shut, the sound a final, crushing blow to her soul. She walked away, believing she had escaped, but a voice deep inside her whispered that she would never be free. Hashtag a beacon in the alleys. Meanwhile, in the grimy underbelly of the city, a man named David pushed his cart through a maze of alleys. He was a man with a ghost in his past, a tragic accident that had taken everything from him, leaving an emptiness that no amount of scavenging could fill. One rainy morning, as he rummaged through a dumpster, he heard a sound that didn't belong, a faint, desperate cry. He leaned closer, his heart seizing as he discovered two tiny babies wrapped in damp hospital blankets. He lifted them, and their warmth against his chest was a jolt of life he hadn't felt in years. He had lost his own child, and in that moment, a forgotten flicker of hope was rekindled. He took the girls back to his dilapidated shed, a place he had once called a tomb. He named them Maya and Zoe, names that meant hope and light. The shed became a sanctuary. David's life, once a cycle of survival, was now a tapestry of purpose. He taught them to navigate the world with resilience, to find joy in the small moments, and to believe in themselves despite their humble beginnings. The shed, once a cold shelter, was now a home filled with laughter and the promise of a brighter future. Camola, August 21st, 2025, 1751. Maya and Zoe thrived under his care. They learned to walk, to talk, and to dream. David watched with father's pride as they blossomed into strong, resilient young girls. He encouraged their budding talents. Maya's passion for sewing with salvaged fabrics, and Zoe's gift for drawing on discarded paper. Their creations were not just art. They were pieces of their story, stitched and drawn with the love and hope that had brought them together. David taught them that their worth wasn't defined by their past, but by the love they shared and the dreams they pursued. Hashtag grace and light. One day, they set up a small stall at the local market. Their handmade creations, born from scraps and dreams, drew admiration. The whispers that had once defined them, the abandoned children of shame, were replaced with words of encouragement and respect. The community saw them not as their past, but as talented young women with a bright future. They named their business Grace and Light, a tribute to their improbable journey. The market became a place of connection, where customers not only bought their goods, but were also drawn in by the story of their resilience. But the past, a relentless shadow, had not finished its work. One fateful morning, a woman with a haunted look in her eyes wandered through the market. Years had done nothing to lessen Emily's regret. When she saw Maya and Zoe at their stall, a jolt went through her. They were a reflection of the life she had abandoned, and the full weight of her choice crashed down. Her hands trembling, she approached the stall and asked if they needed help. The girls recognized her, a wave of anger, sadness, and a flicker of compassion passing between them. They gave her a small task, letting her sweep the area, a chance to earn a few coins and a piece of bread. Emily returned day after day, her presence a constant, aching reminder of the past. The girls learned her name and saw the pain etched on her face. Despite the hurt she had caused, they felt a pull toward forgiveness, a need to heal the wound that had long been left open. One evening, David invited Emily to join them. The truth, heavy and necessary, filled the air as he shared the story of how he had found them. Tears streamed down Emily's face as she finally confronted the impact of her actions. Maya and Zoe, their hearts full of compassion, chose to forgive their mother. They understood that forgiveness was not about erasing the past, but about freeing themselves from its grip. They offered Emily a chance to be a part of their lives, to learn and to grow. In that moment, the shadows lifted, replaced by the warm light of understanding and love. Emily began to work with them, her hands stitching together fabric with a newfound purpose. The bond between them grew stronger, woven together by threads of forgiveness and hope. David watched with pride as their family expanded, their love illuminating the darkness that had once surrounded them. The shop, Grace and Light, became a beacon of hope in the community, a place where people came to witness the power of resilience and love. In the end, Emily found her place in the family she had once abandoned. She learned that her past did not define her, and that she could rise above the shadows to embrace the light. Together, they built a life filled with laughter, creativity, and the unwavering belief that they could overcome anything. In that small town, a story of redemption unfolded, a story of a mother, her daughters, and a man who brought them together, who learned that love could heal even the deepest wounds, and that together they could create a future brighter than they had ever imagined.